Good evening, everyone. Apologies for our technology difficulties here, but we'll get started. Welcome to the Tuesday, February 21st, 2017 meeting of the School Board of the Dover Area School District. If you would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mrs. Benko, could we have roll call, please?
Mrs. Britton? Mr. Cook?
Here.
Mr. Deschaux?
Here.
Mr. DeLauder?
Here.
Mr. Eifert?
Here.
Mr. Emig?
Here.
Mrs. Herman?
Here.
Mrs. Mailey? Mr. Rawhauser?
Here.
7 members present.
Thank you. First on our agenda, we have our presentations and celebrations. Mr. Cherry.
I just wanted to take a moment to recognize the schools that submitted their staff for the month of January, what we call kind of our tools recognition. The pictures are out there in the lobby. What I like most about these recognitions really are because they're staff generated. So staff select each month who they would like to give that award to. So take some time on your way out the door. The bulletin board's on your right-hand side. And check out those pictures that we marked February of staff members who are recognized by their peers within their school.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Cherry? Okay, moving on, we'll have our student report under communications tonight.
Hi, Julie couldn't be here tonight. They have their district basketball game, so she apologizes, but hopefully they're doing well. So starting with Dover Elementary, the Dover Elementary School PTO sponsored a Sweetheart Breakfast for our students on February 14th. The PTO provided a continental breakfast to the students in attendance and their parents or grandparents. They had about 350 adult guests at this breakfast event. On February 23rd, they'll hold the second Soaring Eagle Breakfast. 2 students from each classroom will be selected for displaying academic achievement and/or outstanding student achievement. February 24th will be their Proud Reward Day. And then Read Across America Week is scheduled for February 27th through March 3rd of this year. Monday, which is the 27th, will be Cozy Up with a Good Book, so Pajama Day. Tuesday, the 28th, will be Wear Your Craziest Socks Day. Wednesday, March 1st, will be Drop Everything and Read a Dr. Seuss Book Day. Thursday, March 2nd, will be Dress Like a Twin for Thing 1 and Thing 2. And then Friday, which is the 3rd, will be Whoville Hair Day. On to Libe Elementary School. Libe celebrated National School Counseling Week and Elementary Career Week during the week of February 6th to 10th. Thank you, Mrs. Flesh. Libe Elementary kicked off a week of fundraising for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society with an assembly on February 10th. During the week of the 13th to 17th, students and staff brought in loose change connected to a theme for each day. One of our own Libe students, Josiah Garcia, serves as a student ambassador to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. The Libe Elementary PTO will host a PTO family movie night this Friday, the February 24th at Libe. Sorry, I lost my spot. Okay. The movie showing is Trolls. For Read Across America Week, that's scheduled the 27th to March 3rd. For North Salem, on Wednesday, the 22nd, the 4th grade team will be attending a field trip to Nixon Park. And on Monday, also the 27th, North Salem PTO will be holding a book bingo event in celebration of Read Across America Week. The bingo games begin at 6 in the North Salem cafeteria. North Salem students had an excellent behavior in the second marking period and were proud of their behavior. Prizes for the third marking period quarter will be displayed throughout the school so that the students can place their proud tickets in the prize they would like to have for a chance at winning at the end of the corner. The next PTO meeting will be held on February 28th, beginning at 6:30. Volunteers are always welcome. For Wagglestown, on February 1st, students in kindergarten through 2nd grade enjoyed the in-school Stage the Page performance from the York Symphony Orchestra. Students in 4th grade attended a field trip to Nixon Park on February 15th and 16th, and February 24th is Dover Proud Day at Wagglestown. That means the students will be participating in some fun activities at their grade level. On Saturday, the 25th at 5:15, the Wagglestown PTO will be sponsoring a family fun night at Mr. Q's Family Skate on North Fayette Street in York. Read Across America Week is right around the corner, and many fun theme days are planned. For the intermediate school, they started their annual fundraiser for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. In the past 2 years, the intermediate school has raised over $16,000 for this cause. After 2 weeks, they've already raised over $3,500. Last Thursday, the band and chorus students put on an amazing show. The combined concert was a fundraiser for the Dover Food Bank, and audience members were asked to bring a canned food item. DIS acknowledged all students that made honor roll and distinguished honor roll for the second marking period by providing desserts. The staff were the ones that provided all of the delicious desserts. Lastly, for the high school, DAHS recognized its December and January Students of the Month at a ceremony earlier this month. Students of the month were Cheyenne Fleming, Brady Crone, Jakub Becker, Dawson Kleinfelter, Chase Heath, Emily Ewing, Abby Lauer, and Kale Sturmer. Haley Schweitzer was recognized this week as the top FFA student in York County. Her selection followed a rigorous application and interview process. Tomorrow night, DAHS will host its second semester community night. This event scheduling information sessions, winter sports awards night, a classroom open house, and information sessions for parents on core programs. Students are currently rehearsing for The Sound of Music. The musical will be held the first weekend of March, and tickets are on sale. And lastly, DAHS will host its mini-thon at North Salem Elementary School on March 11th and 12th. This event raises funds to support the Four Diamonds Fund. If the students meet a target of raising $40,000, Mr. Wassler will reside on their school's roof for 24 hours. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Barnes. Any questions from the board members? Mr. Rawhauser and I will participate in the Whoville Hair Day, I'm sure. Thank you. You're welcome to stay if you'd like, or you're welcome to take off as well, whichever you prefer. Thank you. Next up is our first public comment period. This is for items on or off of tonight's agenda. This is a 3-minute period. If you have anything you would like to comment on, please come to the microphones and seats to my right and state your name and address for the record. Okay. Seeing nobody moving, we'll move on to Board President's communication. Executive sessions, we did have an executive session today to discuss personnel matters that are on the agenda for this evening, as well as to meet with the union representatives regarding the grievance that is on tonight's agenda. We also did have a session as a board on February 15th to interview the assistant superintendent candidate, and they will be brought to the board for approval at our March meeting. With that, we'll move on to the next item on our agenda, which is the DAE-SPA grievance. I would entertain a motion to deny the DAE-SPA grievance number 2016-02, step 4, dated January 26, 2017. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Questions or discussion?
Just wanted for the record to state that I will be abstaining from this vote.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. Anybody else? Mrs. Benko. The motion carries. Next on our agenda is the approval of our minutes. I would like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the January 17th, 2017 board meeting.
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Questions or discussion? Hearing none, Mrs. Benko. Motion carries. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the January 19th, 2017 board planning meeting.
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Questions or discussion? Hearing none, Mrs. Benko. Motion carries. Next, we'll move on to our consent agenda. I would like to entertain a motion to approve all items listed under tonight's consent agenda.
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, before we vote, we'll go down through the different categories to see if there are any questions or discussions related to any of the items in those categories. So first, we have curriculum and professional development. Any questions or discussion on those items? Okay, hearing none, we do not have any under facilities. Any questions for human and fiscal resources?
I just want to note for retirements, we have two individuals retiring. So Mr. Taylor from the intermediate school, who I'd like to thank for his service, but I'd also like to thank Mr. Walker for all his years of service and dedication to the district. So know that we appreciate everything that you've done.
You're not leaving yet. You'll be here for the cake at the end, right? Any questions under the human and fiscal resources? Okay, safe and supportive schools. Any questions on that item? Okay, hearing none, Mrs. Benko. And the motion carries. Okay. Dover Eagle Foundation, Mr. Cherry.
Not a lot to update you on, other than we are still planning our first annual golf tournament in May. So we are still looking for teams to come out and compete. So if you're interested in competing in that tournament, contact Mrs. Bobby Strasbaugh.
Any questions for Mr. Cherry?
What's that? It is on the homepage, yep.
All right. York Adams Academy, Mr. Emig.
On January 24th, Mr. Cherry and myself attended the winter graduation at the York Adams Academy. As always, it was an outstanding evening. We had a couple students that gave testimony of why they came to York Adams Academy. It was a very touching ceremony. And of course, they were awarded their diplomas from all the York and Adams schools that attend. And then on Tuesday, January the 31st, was our regular meeting. As of Tuesday, all of our seats are filled at York Adams Academy. We have 12 seats filled. So, just so you're aware, they decided that there will be no increase in the student fee for this coming year. However, next year will be a different story.
Okay.
I know there's a motion to approve the York Adams Academy general operating budget, but I would like to entertain the idea of moving from 12 seats to 14 seats for the current academic year. So I would say that when you approve that budget, that you would consider 14 seats rather than the 12 seats that are listed in the contract.
Do you need a motion for that, or is that?
Can we make part of that motion to change it to 14 seats?
You need a motion for that. He's asking for a motion. Yeah.
I'll make that motion.
Second. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the 2017-2018 York Adams Academy General Operating Budget and increase the number of seats from 12 to 14. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Questions or discussion?
I think there's support.
I think there's support for that. Hearing none, Mrs. Benko? The motion carries. York County School of Technology, Mr. DeLauder?
I have nothing at this point, although I was unable to make the last meeting, so I will turn over to Mr. Amig for any comments.
I attended the last meeting on January 26th, and it's always nice to go to York County School of Technology because that night they treated us to a dinner, which was great. The students made the meal, and it was filet mignon was excellent. That's what I had. But it was great. Mr. DeLauder, you're going to have to attend one of these years. But I thank you for the past 2 dinners that I've had there the past 2 years. But the only thing that really came out of that was they honored the Students of the Month from the different schools, plus they hired an equity coordinator, which is a new position at York County School of Technology. Plus they went over the budget, and none of the schools had denied their budget. They all approved to go ahead with that. So that's all that I have.
And then neither Mr. Amig nor I will be able to attend this next one because it's Thursday, so we have obligations here.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to LIU Special Education. Mr. Cherry and Mrs. Benko.
Tonight on the board agenda is the approval for the LIU's operating budget for 17-18. The LIU met with the group of superintendents. We were pleased with the budget that they presented to us. Overall, they were able to decrease expenses by 3.7%. And we as a district experienced a decrease as well in our expenses. So I would recommend, based on what they presented, that you approve their 17-18 budget.
Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the 2017-2018 LIU General Operating Budget.
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Questions or discussion? Hearing none, Mrs. Benko. Motion carries. Legislative, Mr. Rawhauser.
Nothing to report at this time because their committees are meeting.
Thank you. PSBA, do we have anything in the absence of Mrs. Brinton? Okay. Dover Industrial Development Committee Authority, Mrs. Herman.
Okay, not really much at all. The same conversation, trying to bring industry, commercial developments into the area, and working with the borough, hopefully, to do some of that. The big thing I think that came up was the fact that they were encouraged to start a Chamber of Commerce and how that could help all of us, including the schools, if they would do that. So that's just preliminary, very preliminary. That's all.
Questions for Mrs. Herman? Okay, critical response drill, Mr. Deschaux.
Our next meeting is this Thursday at 9 a.m. That's all I have right now.
Any questions for Mr. Deschaux? Okay, superintendent's report, Mr. Cherry.
First update, it appears that the girls' basketball team is winning right now, so looks like it's 12-7. My second update is I just want to remind the community that our meeting on Thursday, our 7 o'clock meeting, has been changed. We have advertised this and sent out an announcement. A Global Connect will go out tomorrow, but the 7 o'clock update for Washington Township will be held at the Dover Area High School's auditorium beginning at 7 o'clock. So our solicitor will be there to provide updates and what we know at this time as we prepare for the March meeting with the Pennsylvania Department of Education's Board of Directors. My third update is really just a thank you. As many of you, if you didn't have the chance to watch it, Governor Wolf presented his budget to the Commonwealth, and during his presentation, the Dover Area School District was mentioned. And the one area that he gave praise for, or to, was our CTE program that we have here in the district. So I would just like to take a moment to go through the 10 programs, but also thank the teachers who are leading the cause, because the shout out that he gave is directly related to the work that they're doing with our kids at our high school. So our first approved program is accounting technology, and Mrs. Stacy Gross teaches that. We have administrative assistant program, and Mr. Hurd and Ms. Gross also teach that as well. Marketing is done by Ms. Lonnie Kress and Dale Hurd. And geospatial technology is done by Mr. Good and Mr. Williams. Computer technology is Jebediah Lindbergh. Commercial and advertising art is taught by Mr. Smith. We have engineering technology is Mr. Nolan, Mr. Harmon, and Mr. Good. Agriculture, just ag, Alex Barzidlo, and Nick Stoller and Ron Weiner. Horticulture is done by Nick Stoller and Alex Barzidlo. And then agriculture mechanics is Ron Weiner and Nick Stoller. So once again, under the direction of Mr. Benton, who is our CTE director, I would just like to take a moment to thank them for all the work that they've done. Once again, it was recognized when Secretary of Education Pedro Rivera came down. He had the opportunity to visit those classrooms, and it was nice to see that recognition come through in the governor's speech when he presented the budget. So thank you to all of those staff members for their hard work.
Questions for Mr. Cherry? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to our miscellaneous category for comments or observations from board members.
I was going to make a comment, sort of just piggyback a little bit on what you just finished talking about. I was reading an article this week that was talking about the future, our kids' future and employment opportunities, and was really focusing a lot on how the trades are really being overlooked by today's youth, and it really raised some big concerns about where we're headed for. Many trades, many companies that hire people, skilled laborers, are having a hard time finding people who are taking up trades, and it's kind of like a wake-up call. You couple that with some of the expenses that college graduates are experiencing with no guarantees of employment after the fact of graduation, and makes you start to really do a little bit of assessment on where we're headed. That, coupled with the fact that the state is really recognizing this as well, and that they're really starting to look greatly at schools that offer career and technical education as part of their advancements and as far as their education program. And had the opportunity to visit a school today to do a walkthrough, kind of look at their building. They have a great facility, but one of the things that really alarmed me was in discussing some of the educational opportunities that they basically have no ag program. They have no horticultural program for the kids to, in a limited technical, career-minded education. And it made me really appreciate the fact that we have what we have here, and actually, hopefully can expand that and give more kids opportunities like that to really look outside the box. It's not necessarily a career as a college graduate per se, but there's other opportunities out there that are going to be in high demand if they're not already there, because they're just not being pursued. So it's always good to go away and see what else is out there, but it's always good to come home and realize you're very blessed with what you have, right at your own location. So kind of piggybacking on what you said, it's a good thing that we've got going here.
Anybody else? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to our last public comment period. This is a 2-minute period, again, for items on or off of the agenda. If you have anything you'd like to comment on, please come to the microphones and state your name and address for the record. Okay, seeing nobody on the move, I will announce the dates now for our future meetings. As Mr. Cherry mentioned, we do have our planning meeting this Thursday at the high school auditorium beginning at 7 o'clock p.m. Committees will still meet here in this building at 6 o'clock p.m. on Thursday. And then we will again have our regular board meeting on March 21st at 7 o'clock p.m. here. So with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Questions or discussion? All in favor? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned. Thank you for coming.